Oui, mesdames et messieurs, ben nous, et nous sous antenne nan, nous gain avec nous Manière Douin et sous bord droite moi et moi gagne juste devant en bas nous gagne monsieur Eddy Cohen qui retrouve nous. Eddy, même là nous introduit en créole parce que Eddy he don't speak the language well. He knows a few words. But that's too bad because by the time he's dealing with those guys didn't teach him the Creole. But that's all right. So he's going to learn some today.
That's right.
Eddy, Manny, how you doing, guys?
Hi. Hi, Rudy. Rudy, nice to see you. And nice to see you, Manny. Now we have a little interference. I don't know if there's another track that we're hearing. I don't know if we could turn that one down. Or
yes,
not.
we think if we can pull the track down a little bit, and that would be nice. No, it's good. It's good. I mean, if you're watching over the FB, that's fine. So you can watch in it, but put the voice down and we can see exactly what's going on.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was something I was doing wrong.
No. It's the sound on the back, so we good. We good. That's fine. Manny, how you doing, my friend? Manny, your mic is off apparently.
So my mic, okay, my mic is on now.
Good. Right. So how you doing, man?
I had it off. How you doing, guys?
All right. This is
Very
great.
good. Good. How is Arizona treating you, Eddy? How is Arizona treating you?
Okay. Oh, Manny,
How is
it is a paradise out here. We've been here almost 2 years.
wow, beautiful.
And I'm looking for some compa out here. I'm looking for a compa to get. Yeah.
Well, hi guys.
It's good to have you. It's good to be here.
Thank you so much, Manny. You have done so much, and you've been around, and you've documented what's going on in Haitian music and in the world. And I'm honored that you brought me on today.
Listen, it was way overdue because we have almost interviewed everybody in Skah and everybody that had anything to do with Haitian music. But for some reason, it was way overdue, and I felt obligated to have you on the air, and so we can know exactly what your perspective and how you see Haitian music, how you see Haitian people, and how you saw how you evolved into a totally new, different culture, and how successful you were to have stayed in that community and still being with us years after.
Yeah, well, it was like a family, a warm, wonderful family that took me in as one of their own. And I cannot tell you the gratitude I feel for being part of such a wonderful family. I have maybe it's better than family because, I have a sister-in-law. Her name is Angie, and she recently posted a meme about a restaurant, picture of a restaurant. Come on in, we'll treat you like family. But when you think about it, maybe some people will drive on and say, I don't know, maybe that's not a good idea. But the Haitian family, that was wonderful.
Eddy,
Beautiful.
the background sound on your side,
Yes.
if they can they can listen to they can see what's going on, but if they can put the volume down because it's interfere with your microphone, it just like give us a return. Are you playing something in the
With
back? Do you have another things playing in the back, right? Just pull the volume down.
No, there's
No.
nothing else.
Oh, not by you. Okay. All right. So good. Well, so Manny was saying that. So can you give us can you tell us about yourself a little bit? Because I know when you joined Skah, you were kind of very young, and I'm going to
Yes.
try to project the picture in a minute to show you how young were you and in the middle of these guys, and like you say, you just they get you in as a family. You have a wonderful time. You have a good time because we're going to talk a lot of stuff today because we know some information, some perspective, what's going on while you evaluate around those guys and what took you while they take you under the wings, how you kind of play with that. So tell us a little bit about yourself, the youngest time, how you join in, how you getting in, I mean, from wherever you come from, and you join the Haitian band. And I'm pretty sure I was putting on my advertising on social media, kind of the time you were in Skah, that was the one of the best time of Skah number one, one of those the best albums around Skah. Tell us about that.
Well, I first want to pay homage to my sister Dede. She was my biggest musical influence. She's an actress and singer. She was on a WABC TV co-starring as Diane on the show. She went on to become the wife of a rabbi, and she really inspired me to be musical. But when I was in college, I was about 19 years old. I met Ernst Emil, who was performing on guitar at a place at the Rockland Community College. I went and I spoke to him, and we were playing and practicing in my living room that night. And this goes back to early 1977.
Wow.
He recommended that I try out for Skah because Ernst Emil, he's the one man that was responsible for changing the music, changing compa in 1977. When Skah, we were the paradigm for what was to follow with all the other major orchestras afterwards. And that is the horn line together, playing jazz horn lines on top of compa. That took off. Tabu Combo did it. You know, all the major bands pretty much followed in Skah's steps at the time. So I am grateful to have been a part of that historical shift in the music, which is really, I guess you could say it's attributable to one man who is, in my opinion, an unsung hero, Mr. Ernst Emil.
Well, around that time,
having
go ahead, Manny. Go ahead, Manny. Manny, go ahead.
no. My issue is, Eddy, as having met Ernst Emil, how did he present it to you to the Skah group? How did that happen? What's going on? How did that? Tell us. Was it over lunch? I don't know. How did you get into the Skah?
Well, Ernst said, I have a group I am working with now. It's a Haitian group, a very good group. And I would like you to meet them. I guess he kind of liked my feeling. Maybe I was not the best saxophonist in the world, but I certainly had the feeling to play the music and feel it in my heart. And he said he wanted me to meet them and come to a rehearsal with Lou Bear and a couple of horns. So I went to a practice with Skah in Queens. I think it was at the home of the late Gene Elsindoor, who was our keyboardist at that time, who unfortunately we had lost since then. And I tried out. Right? Jean Elsindoor, yeah. He's on Message album. And then what happened was that I played a little bit, and they taught me a horn line. I think it was the song "Do It Again." That one. And the harmony with Lube was good. It was pretty good. It felt very natural. And so on the way home, I asked Ernst if they thought I would be okay. And they said, "Oh, no, we have another rehearsal." So I said, "Beautiful," and it was really we never looked back from that point.
Manny, you get that? Well, for some reason, okay, you got it, right?
For some reason, the sound is not yet. Yeah, there's a delay in sound from Eddy's point. Is there anything on at your house, Eddy? Is there another
we should sign out and sign back.
Radio or Facebook or telephone? Is it?
Let me.
Like she said, this is Eddy. Eddy. This is what we're gonna do. Like she just said, Let's we start it again like she said. While you're doing that, let me put a song while you start to do the changing, and I'll be right back with you guys. All right?
Okay.
Sounds good?
Perfect. Thank you. Excellent.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, guys, don't move, don't go anywhere. We try to put some technology together here, and here we go. This is one of the. Let me put that here.
Sounds good.
Yes, we got the feedback somewhere, somehow. Okay, let's listen to this instead. Here we go.
Eddy, vous entendez ça qui sonne là? Yes.
Si vous êtes bicyclette, vous êtes pédalé. Si vous êtes en cheval, vous êtes cavalier. Si vous êtes en col, vous êtes piloté. Maria, bo, bo, bo. vérité connaît la Martinique, au pays des fleurs, au pays de l'amour, nous t'es rencontrés. Maria Bobo, Maria Bobo, j'aime ta content, j'aime ta
Eddy. Eddie, question for you.
Hi.
When you joined the band, I understand there was some kind of the drum was in transition from Ancien to Tuco. Were you there?
Yes.
The drum player were in transition from Ancien. When you joined in, was Ancien there or was Tuco already there? Which one was on the drums at that time?
Well, Tuco Buzzi, aka Tonton Relax. He was
Yes.
he was playing there. He was a wonderful drummer. Let me just say about Arsène, he was the guy that named Skah. He named Skah. Namor Jean-Baptiste made the compa in 1956. Skah was the band that lived his vision. Arsène named the band. Loubert led the band. Zuzul and Cubano sang the spirit of the band. Ernst Emile changed the nature of the music. And today we got people like Robert Charlot, the younger generation, keeping compa alive.
When you said Ernst Emile changed the band, what do you mean by that? What did the band have before that didn't have with after when you joined in with Ernst and the others?
Essentially, Loubert was the only horn for the most part. Once in a while, there was another saxophone. Ernst had an idea. Let's try getting a horn section together, and we'll play jazz lines over the compa. And it just happened that we hired a couple of other guys came in, and it just changed the nature of the whole music. And then Tabu Combo brought in a guy named what was it? I remember John Campagna on sax, American guy. And then they had a horn section. And just seemed this whole idea was something that Ernst had started. And I remember I wrote an article about him a couple of years ago where I talked about the jazzy horn section that he added. And these horn sections adorned every respectable compa band in the market. Ernst had left his mark in so many ways on the market, but I don't think that he was recognized as much as perhaps he should have been.
So how hard was it for you to adjust in this new environment, new music, new settings? You had to play every weekend and have to play in different cities of places in New York. How was it? How hard was it for you to make the adjustment with this new setting in your life, music and living as well?
Well, it was surprisingly easy to adapt to. The warmth and the heart of the Haitian people is like none other anywhere. There's nobody warmer, no community warmer and more welcoming than the Haitian community. It was a pleasure for me. I loved everything, the food, the music, the culture. And I tried to learn as much as I could about Haitian culture during those years. And I traveled around a lot during the week when we went on tours. I didn't stay around the hotel. I was out exploring in Haiti and Martinique.
Music-wise, though, Eddie, how did you adjust your? What did you have to do to adjust your playing with Haitian compa? What did you do? I understand musicians kind of speak a common language, but as somebody outside of the music world, what did you do? What did you have to do, music-wise?
Well, musically, absolutely nothing. It was as natural as anything else I've played. Now, I'll be, mhm. Before Skah, I played in one of the big disco bands in New York City area. It was called Made in USA. We were a one-hit wonder, I guess you can say. The band came out with one hit called Melodies in 1977. I left the band because of a dispute. There was a dispute. Somebody brought in one of their buddies to play saxophone there, and I kind of bumped me out of there. So that was a sharp contrast. Dealing with my own American music, that was a sharp contrast to the welcome the Haitian people gave me coming into Skah at that time. So there was nothing I needed to change. Musically, it was as natural as a bird flies or a fish swims.
Very good. Now, once I understand that we Skah played every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. How hard was it for you to go ahead and be there on time, be performing and going to school? How did you manage all that during that time?
Well, I think there's an inside joke among musicians, among American musicians, that if we come at 9 o'clock, is it local time or is it Haitian time? So we found a bridge between coming between the two. Sometimes we were supposed to be there at 9, but we didn't start till about 11. So I compromised. We came to 10 p.m. and we played till about 3 a.m. in the morning.
Good.
I have a little
Anything,
question.
Rudy?
I have a little question in here, because Eddy brings something which is, I know people always want to aware of things going on, because the minute we have more than 2 people, it's hard to control. So that's why there's chaos. Now, you've been in Skah since 1973, 74, you say, right?
77.
77. So you come in there, you do your best things in there, you try to evolve in that situation until some things come up, which is there is some dispute in there and everything. How you manage between that, and how the momentum among those musicians, Skah, because Skah is one of those bands people still have nostalgia of Skah, the music, the style, the rhythm, whatever they play in. Until today, I heard a friend of mine tell me this morning they try to see if they can regroup the band. But I doubt that, but I don't know. It's not out of my scope. But how that come to that situation where you see the first step happen with you, and how's the movement, the way the musician, act among them?
Behave, you mean?
Mm-hmm. Part of it. Behavior is what, but it's the way they are, the way they talk to each other, the way because they always say musician of friend, family. That's what they all say. They sing that. Musicians also called for me. I mean, they are one family. Are they really believe as a family when they are there in the environment you are living?
Well, I think it's like any family. Every family has their moments. I tell my son Eddy Jr. And I have 2 daughters, Julia Rose and Abigail Marie, and they know the stories. I tell them all the stories that happened on the road. My granddaughter Mackenzie's only 6. She wouldn't understand the story yet, but one of the stories I talk about is we're riding on the bus going to a gig. Mm-hmm. And the bus driver with Skah in the bus is going 80 miles an hour or 120 kilometers an hour on the road. So I said to Cubano, tell him to slow down, man. And I said, Upakatilisa, sak pase. Upakatilisa. No, so it's a joke. If you say to Cubano, Upakatilisa, he'll definitely laugh at that, because it's an inside joke with us on the bus. We had a lot of great memories, even with a little bit of language barrier. We had a lot of fun together. there were disagreements, as is in any family. But I got to know them on a personal level, and each of them were all different personality-wise, and it's a beautiful family.
By the way, Julia say she's proud of you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Julia?
Yeah, she says she's proud of you.
Thank you, Julia Rose. You are such a sweetheart. Look at that.
Listen, I understand that, but what's happening in here, there is the dismantlement of Skah.
Mm-hmm.
Among the time you've been with these guys, I know, like you were saying, everybody have their own mind, their own concept, their own problem. So can you pinpoint what caused that today? Skah is just... Any idea how that come to pass? Since you are among living with these guys, you travel with them, you do a lot of things with them, and you are under their wings.
There were some very terrible things that happened among us in Skah. Some very terrible things. Things that nobody can really talk about. There were some disagreements between some of the members that we tried very hard to overcome, but it didn't involve me personally, but it involved some of the other members that had needless discord over things that could have been resolved without such anger. And they were hurt very badly by how they treated each other. And they carry the scars even perhaps to this day. But, in any, it's like a marriage, you have, I mean, like we relied on each other, like with our own wives. What would we do? What would I do if I didn't have my lovely wife, Michelle, to help me with technology? I'd be no place. I don't know the first thing about computers and Zoom, but here, come say hello for a second. Here is why I'm on here today is because of Michelle, my wife, Michelle.
Thank you very much for helping. I appreciate that.
My pleasure.
And she likes compa music.
Well, that's wonderful. That's lovely.
We love her.
Oh, see that?
I appreciate that.
Beautiful. Good to meet you, Michelle.
Nice to meet you both.
Good to meet her.
And she has two daughters, Karen and Cassidy, that are watching too.
By the way, I have to tell her that Julia just say she's so proud of her dad.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, I hear a lot of the stories about Skah, and it sounds like it's been a really fun time to be there.
Well, that's why we're trying to.
You bet.
That's why we're trying to see if we can look at in the review mirror to understand what's happening, because that was a wonderful times. If you're looking at people on the chat in here, there's nostalgia still boil. It's this people's heart. I mean, that was a very lovely band, very appreciated. I mean, very nice. And hey, and we got that today. It is painful in a way, but we try to just, try to understand, let people understand some stuff's going on, because sometimes things happening, people don't know what's going on. And it's good for the publics to know, because usually when we have friends coming along in the show, we always ask them to tell them about themselves. So when they talk about themselves, we ask them their parkour, their journey, whatever band they've been playing with. And most of the time, and because the public went out there, they just go out there and dance. And they look at the musician, they are playing the dancing, the singing on the stage, but they don't know what's going on among them. They don't know what's going on between them. And people just dancing, and after the fact, people realize, hey, you know what? The band is dismantled. What's going on? What happened? These guys was playing last night. They were playing last month. What the heck is going on? So we try to kind of open up a little bit to let people know what's going on, because everybody have their problem. Everybody have their days. But meanwhile, we just don't understand what's brought them to that situation. Eddy was just telling us, I mean, we heard about stuff. And like they say, until today, there is some stuff, among these guys, they still have these things in their heart. They cannot let go. Sometimes it's painful, but it's good to talk about it. And you never know. After Eddy talked today, they probably, if they have something in their heart, they probably let go.
Yeah.
Well, I know it was a
One
very
question
special
for
time
Eddy.
in his
Eddy,
life, and he,
Hold on.
I'm sure would go back and do it all again if he could.
Okay, I hear you that. So I'm pretty sure they heard it. They got the message.
We'll be pleased to have him in Miami. Big time. Question for Eddy here. Eddy, did you have you had a chance to go ahead and compose a song or be part of this, making up arrangements for Skah and all that, other than playing?
I mean, during the time of Skah? Yes, in fact, I've got a few horn lines here that I wrote, which, like on some of the songs, on Maria, on Message. I wrote a horn line on that. I wrote horn line on Embargo, and I even have a horn line on a Sexy One album.
Hold on a second. All right, second. Just cut that. I'm gonna play a little bit of message, and you tell me where you come into that. All right? You hear me?
Okay.
Here we go. Say it again?
C'est après ça, monsieur.
Ok, vas-y. All right.
Sentir dans la peine de pouvoir quitter, je pas retourner, qu'elle m'a pris. Avec crié, m'a périllé, femme dans viré de l'allée. Il m'a fait tourner.
Voilà.
C'est lui qui tout fit, moi c'est lui qui tout cœur. Aïe aïe aïe.
Skah, Shah. É no cavalo. Eddy, did I pass that?
Oh, that's just, it brings back such memories. Oh.
Well,
Um,
go ahead, Manny. You go understand the go ahead, Manny.
Now, I was going to ask Eddy. Eddy, when it became obvious to you that you were part of a big story, a big band, of being part of history, being part of the most popular Haitian band in Haiti? How did that strike you? How did you react to that?
Well, let me say generally speaking, nobody is ever aware of how epic a moment is except for in reflection. And that's just how it is. We don't know at the time how epic it really is. In reflection, of course, as in anything else that's epic, this moment, it was more important than how good somebody could be as a musician. I learned that. It's what you did and when you did it and with whom. That is really what defines the moment. And I think I always knew that this was an important step, that Skah made a very, very big impact on the Haitian musical circles. I remember when Nemours Jean-Baptiste came to see us play, one of his last public appearances, he came up and he took my saxophone and played it. And that was a big honor for me to be able to say that Nemours Jean-Baptiste, the founder of Compa, played my horn publicly. And that is epic, I think.
Beautiful. Beautiful. One other thing, Woody.
Go ahead.
Now, there was also a rivalry between Skah and Taboo. How did that excite you? How did that? How much energy that did it generate among the two bands, or among the one band, the one that you were in? The rivalry between Taboo and Skah and Dedans, of course.
Well, but I think it was a bifurcated struggle. It was between the two. I mean, there were others that may have sided with Taboo and Skah, but Skah and Taboo was the Godzilla and the King Kong that came to loggerheads, and it all culminated one night at Brooklyn College Auditorium when Skah and Taboo Combo came together for the first time on stage, without any violence, without any problems, but the excitement that we felt among us, we were nervous. I'll be honest with you, we were all nervous, all of us. Now I know that Skah and Taboo Combo musicians grew up together. You know, Cubano and Shubu, they grew up in Port-au-Pay together. The band knows each other. But when it came to the public image of the bands, we found that it generated two kinds of followers. The Skah crowd that liked the Compa Plaqué, and we had the Compa Direct of Taboo Combo. And it was just a sensational difference between it was a rivalry that was as bad as Wiebe Siko and Nemours Jean-Baptiste when they played soccer games back in the 50s.
So that night you felt the anxiety, the fear. You didn't know how the crowd was going to react, and how difficult it was to go ahead and have them both together in the same room. What did you guys do?
Manny, this was a high tension moment for everybody, even the media. Remember Eddy Publicity? Mm-hmm. Everybody was out there to see this. You know, when we got to the scene, people were so nervous. Please excuse the graphic quality of what I'm about to share, that you could actually smell the throw up from people that got sick from nervousness outside the venue. It was, you know, I know that's crazy, but I mean, that's the picture. You have to picture what it was to come to Brooklyn College that night. People were milling about. It was very, very tense. Very tense.
So backstage, did you get together with the Taboo guys afterwards? Once the presentation done after the event.
We did, and we were lucky that we got Barry Manilow's dressing room. By the way, they gave it to Skah. I mean, you know, they weren't playing any favorites. They just gave us Barry Manilow. I don't know which room Taboo got, but what we did, we got together with Taboo Combo again in Martinique in 1978. We met in Martinique, and it was a big show. Big show. And you know what's funny? I was walking on the beach, and Skah and Taboo Combo, we all got together on the beach. And it was a wonderful get-together that showed that we can unify despite any differences.
Very good. There was another band also in the area, Dedans. You remember Dedans?
Oh, I do. And we lost Jerry, you know, the saxophone player.
Gerard?
Gerard.
Yeah, Gerard.
How did that rivalry? How did, was Dedans any irritant to you guys, or we just brushed him off, or just that's just a new kid on the ground and just keep on pushing?
Oh no!
How did you treat Dedans?
Dedans was one of the greats, and we, as you know, and I know that Skah and Dedans, as far as I could see, were very compatible. Very, you know, there was not the same sense of rivalry because we were not competing, you know, for the same market, for the same degree of market. I think there was a statement, a sign of philosophy when you mentioned Skah or when you mentioned Taboo Combo. Dedans was one of the bands that seemed to take care of both sides.
I have a question in here. We're talking about Taboo Combo and Dedans versus Skah. So besides those two bands, because you were inside, what other band in the late 70s, 80s, Skah was kind of more scared of?
How about
versus Skah?
I don't know if I want to say they were afraid, but how about respect? Respect.
Okay. Okay.
Frère Dedans.
Okay.
And I'll tell you the truth, I love Frère Dedans. And they are really superb. They are superb.
All right, so we're talking about Frère Dedans becomes system band, and in the beginning of the 80s, we have Accolade, who came in town. Do you remember Accolade in New York?
Oh, I remember Accolade very well.
So how these guys see Accolade when Accolade came in town? Because at that time there is a lot of, you know, like, let me put it, the way you sound, a lot of respect for that band. So how Skah see Accolade that?
I don't think that.
How these guys have now? Because at that time they kind of, you know, a lot of respect for that thing. So how Skah see Accolade?
Well, I don't know. I think I'm going to need my daughter Julia to help me answer that question. No, she loves lots of music dating back, and she's 23 and loves all music. I would say Accolade was not looked upon. Accolade, and they changed their name, you know. And I have the old albums from Accolade before, you know. Before.
But, I mean, they used to be Bossa Combo when they split. Bossa Combo went back to Eddy, and you have Accolade who stays in New York. So in the early 80s, when Accolade came in here, that was the time really New York was, I mean, booging up. And so how Skah was respond to that?
Well, I think that you know, Skah evolved also from really shlu, right? Shlu became Skah in the United States. Bossa Combo became Accolade, and then their big hit was Accolade, the name of the song, right? Accolade.
Yeah.
Beautiful. You know, so I think that in my mind, it's all on one level of thinking. You know, there is no better, there is no worse. Akolad was every bit what Skah and Tabu Combo was.
So what is
Eddie,
your
tell us
best?
about your trips.
Go ahead, Manny. Go ahead, Manny.
Eddie, tell us about your trips to Haiti after that.
Well, are you talking about the trips with the band or the ones that I took by myself to Haiti?
No, with the bands, with the band. Tell us about your first trip to Haiti and then your subsequent trips after that.
Well,
with the band, of course.
Yes, with the band. When we first went to Haiti, we were still pushing the Message album, and we first got to Haiti together after Message was recorded. February of 1979. We made a trip there. We covered the whole circuit, Martinique, Guadeloupe, and we went to South America, to French Guiana, Haiti, and it was a wonderful trip, 1979. And when we went to Haiti, I was thrilled because I got to explore. I was one of the guys, I used to like to go out and explore. And I could tell you what a bottle of sold for back then.
One good, I think.
In good? Oh, 5 good, monsieur.
Back there, then.
Oh, pas bon
même. Okay, I thought it was one good.
Was it?
So how did you compare the crowd in Haiti and the crowd in New York? How did you compare the two venues, one and then the public?
I would have to say though that the crowd was really not much different. They were a very, very, very excited crowd. They were very eager. But in Haiti, the crowds were even more excited because a lot of people paid money they could not afford to come to see the jazz. So I know that they saved up just to come to hear the bands live, and that was really, I really respect that. So, but the crowd's different. The difference in the crowds, the level of enthusiasm, I think, was very, very similar, though. More diverse. It was a more diverse crowd, I think, of Haitians in Haiti than here in the States.
Eddy, I have a question about Skah before we ask you about that. I know you there's a couple of the band you kind of after Skah you got the momentum and you even maestro of a Haitian band. Tell me a little bit, what is the best moment you have in Skah and the worst? I said the worst. Because like you were saying before, there is a moment in Skah was kind of really, there is this Skah there you think cannot be, until these days this guy's carrying on. But tell me your best moment in Skah and the worst.
Because like you were saying, there is a moment in Skah
if there is any.
It's hard for me to pick any one particular memory, but there were a lot of times in Skah that we really, really enjoyed. I think when we were coming into a country and we went right to the radio station or the TV station first before we went to the hotel. Yeah. We just landed and we went to the TV station to do an impromptu interview, or we lip synced a performance like we did in Guyana. That was, when 10% of the country came out to see us over a period of a few days. It was very exciting. That was a good moment to come to see how appreciated the band was, and to be a part of that. I guess being on radio and being on the television program in Guyana was a high point for me. The low points were when we found out that we lost Jean Alcindor, we lost Mario Mayala, we lost Charlie Claude. That was the worst moment for me. To lose one another to death was the worst.
And I heard, if I'm not mistaken, Mario Mayala passed the night. There is a night he was finished playing, and just that same night he passed. Is that correct? He was playing live with Skah one night, and that was the same night when Mario Mayala passed. That was true.
I heard something about that, but I never heard much of the detail about that. But it was a terrible a knock to the spirit of the band and to the musical community. But it hit home very, very hard when he was lost.
Manny.
Now Charlie Claude.
Eddy.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, we're so grateful that you were able to go ahead and appreciate all the time during your youth that you spent with Shah. And we certainly look forward to of having you at some point in the future, either with the band or for another conversation. But again, how do you see Haitian music today? What's your what do you know about Haitian music today?
I think Haitian music, there's a lot of argument going on right now as to keeping the authenticity of compa music, and that zouk came and other stylisms. For a while it looked like they were changing styles as frequently as Burmy Flo changes her hairstyle. But I think that I'm for compa, keeping the authenticity of the original compa plaqué, compa direct. As for zouk, I think that these are outgrowths of compa. This is where compa evolved to. So on the one hand, I think compa should be kept, absolutely. But we shouldn't be we shouldn't frown upon there being other manifestations of compa that grow from there, zouk and things like that. We need to encourage the diversity of the Haitian music and to encourage people who want to create for Haiti.
Quick, we are approaching the time. I know after Skah, you're involved in a couple of bands. Tell us about that quickly.
Okay, there was a Haitian band that formed in Rockland County. It was called Traffic Band. There was a great lead singer who was really an unsung hero. His name is Rico. We had, Billy Florimo was there, and he was a guitarist. It was great. We had some great people. Ronald Claude, Shupit. We had T Sugar from Sugar Combo. So they elected me to be the leader of the band, and I was very honored to have that happen.
So how did you manage? How did you manage that?
Well, I understand a lot more Creole than I can actually speak. I do understand quite a bit.
Yes.
And it happened one night, something explosive happened on stage. And before you knew it, the band looked at me and said, "Okay, maestro." And I said, "Okay. Aweo, anale. Ready. Trois, quatre." And that was it. I was the new maestro, and we never looked back. We went to the first album, and T. Dolph was the producer of that first album.
What about 61?
61? Oh, I was not a member of the group, but I had a horn line that got onto one of their songs, Telephone. And it kind of went through it was like the game of telephone, believe me. But I know we're getting down to the last part of our show. So,
Manny.
What? Tell us about your music life now. What do you do
Music
now?
life now,
I mean, there's no Skah, there's no sexy one.
I am looking.
There is Arizona. There is Ohio.
Well, I am sneakily and surreptitiously working on compa music, just in case. Just in case. But on the Traffic Band album, I wrote two of the songs, Great to Be Back and Magic Night. And here is just a couple of bars. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it, but
Yes, we do.
This is what I sang. Can you hear the?
Go ahead. Yes, we do.
I've had a longing for the music I used to play. Memories of good times are in my heart today. There were good times, there were crazy old times, but I'm glad I'm back to stay. 'Cause Kasha plays the music that makes me want to stay. It's great to be back. Can you hear that? It's great to be back. It's great to be back. So I wrote that song when I was coming back to Haitian music. It was so good to be back.
Well, Eddy, that was a pleasure.
One thing I can promise you, Eddy, is I'm going to go ahead and try to arrange a conversation between you and Loubert at some point in the very near future.
Okay. That will be wonderful. That will be wonderful.
Beautiful. Well, I'm already looking forward to that day where you and Loubert can converse and we're just going to let you guys talk for about an hour, and then we're just going to sit down and listen. We will not be asking questions. You will just be having a conversation between you two. How is that?
That will be fantastic, and I would love that. Can I just mention something really quick here?
Go ahead.
Is that okay with you?
Go ahead.
That would be great. I wanted to say that my sister and brother-in-law, Michael and Michelle, were out to visit from Ohio. I showed them how to make plantains, fried plantains,
yes,
Haitian style, and she makes it better. Michelle makes it better than me now.
By the way, before you go, Billy Florima was saying that they just took him to rehearsal while he was in high school. Billy Florima?
That's right, Billy Florima. A tremendous talent, and we had Jean-Philippe, and it was the first band that they really recorded an album with. We have, let's see, Frankie Simon. We had some great, we had some nice musicians there. But Billy Florima really took off. Tijo on guitar. Beautiful. And I'm very proud to say that they started out pretty much with me in Traffic, some of these guys.
Well, Eddy, that was a very, very, very pleasure of you to be part of this. And like Manny was saying, there is something coming up. I don't know how he's going to pull that together. But I appreciate that you take your time to talk to us. And I don't know what Manny have to add on that.
Again, we want to thank you, Eddy, for having taken the time to talk to us and be part of us and share with us some of this very intimate time you had in one of the most illustrious band of Haitian history. And we certainly look forward to having you again. And again, yes. I'm looking forward to you having a conversation with Loubert. Woody and I will just sit back and listen to you guys talk. We will not be asking questions. We'll just let you guys talk.
Before
an hour. But we need a little bit of pressure put on us. We need.
Trust me. If I'm not there, that's fine. But if I'll be around, you're gonna ask you guys. I'm gonna have to give you guys some pressure because there's certain things I need to know because you guys gonna talk between your good time, but I need to know the bad time.
All right. Well, listen, there were good times and bad times.
That's before you go. There is a gentleman. Jean said that the manager of the band was Jack Desormes. Jack,
Zoom, yes.
all right. Before you go, guys, thank you very much. Everybody was also on the line, and that was a pleasure to have you. And Eddy, I thank you. Manny, thank you. And all of you out there who was listening to us by the radio or online, we appreciate that. And that's going to be for you next time. And just before you go, I just want you to listen to this, the last song in here before you let you go, Eddy, and that will give you some of the more memories. Listen to this. Talento.
Allez, une belle bagaille, messieurs, c'était en longtemps. Chaudière est montée, à des trois boudins. 5 corps du riz, à des corps épices. Des drops pour faire manger, pas une coucaille la manger. Votre plein sans mesurer, ça sont belles et forts. L'école, récréation, c'est belles sensations. Bonbons, sirop, actou, fresco. Des bons pour tout petit monde. 3e trimestre privé. Papillon la Saint-Jean. Commencez, voler. Pigeonnel le dimanche. Ap chanter ranchera. L'après-midi, dans bal, Kaizami. Jeune Jean Chelbert. C'est tcha tcha tcha, à l'hôtel époque, c'est dans longtemps.
Skah, Shah. Oui, mesdames et messieurs, c'était un plaisir. Rendez-vous semaine prochaine. Vendredi soir, 7h, édition Business Time. Même côté. Et samedi, encore une fois, vous dira mon show. Même côté.
Thank you, guys.
Allez, guys. Thank you very much.
Love you guys.
À la prochaine. Thank you.
So much for having me.
Love you guys.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you for watching.
Bye.